Oh, good evening. One moment, will ya? Oh. Sometimes it gets pretty painful when my teeth keeps retracting in and out. Anyway, in case some of you are wondering, I've been reading this Marvel Encyclopedia. You see, I've been reviewing myself as Dracula in movies, and of course in the video game, but I never thought about myself in comic books. Even though Muti-Voice reviewer, comic books was his passion. So I thought I should look up about myself in the Marvel comics, but they put a lot more into me. Because you know about the 50s, people say that comic books were the part of juvenile delinquency, so there's a seal of approval. Until the 70s, they removed the seal of approval, and now Marvel has been creating monsters inside. And here's me as Dracula. Goo. Pretty creepy, huh? And of course it mentions something about me dealing against a character who is also Lord of the Vampires. Vane, that's his name. He's supposed to be Lord of the Vampires until I took over, and now I became the Lord of the Vampires. But of course, they made a sort of a backstory. I mean, if you watch Link Carter's The Top of the Fourth Wall.com, there's a show called Long Box of the Dam. He always does that in Halloween, where he plays his character named Morte. If you want to know more about Dracula from the Marvel Comics, the comic book is called Tomb of Dracula. And his character Morte talks about Tomb of Dracula. And of course talk about the other vampire hunters. And then they made a animated video. It doesn't have Braid in it, but it talks about me in this Marvel universe, and it was the first Marvel Dracula they made, and it was made in the 80s, and you know the 80s anime weren't exactly that good at the time. Called Dracula, Sovereign of the Damned. Very dismal story, I've had to say for myself. And before I get to the hero that I'm reviewing for you today, Braid, I'm going to do a little bit of a backstory. You see, Hammer, a long time ago, in the 70s, Hammer got sick and tired of doing the same stories about Dracula, starring Christopher Lee. So therefore they decided to take a new vampire story, and it's a swashbuckling mystery about an evil vampire who roams the town and turning young women into old ladies. I mean, not only they take their blood, they take their youth. Not my interest. I prefer my women young and beautiful. I don't want them to turn into women. Makes it look like I'm robbing the crater. And this movie is called Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter. Captain Kronos, he is a vampire hunter. He was bitten by a vampire, so he absolves these... he survived, he didn't become a vampire, but he has these vampire abilities. Like he sensed there's a vampire here, he's very fast, and all that. In the story, this man here, he's a priest, and he's a friend to Captain Kronos. And it's a mystery, so they had to figure out who the vampire is, who's the one responsible for all this. And they finally figured out how to kill the vampire. Silver. Sword made of silver. And a silver cross. You should look up Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter. It is a very interesting movie. And it was the inspiration to Blade. Except put a little more chaff into it. Who's satisfied? They walk a vampire hunter for the human race. Blade! Vadon. Try to do some good. Helping humans in the hood. That Blade is one bad mother. Shut your mouth. Who said that? I said it, sucker. Hello, I'm Blade. Ah, it's you, Blade. What are you doing here? I'm here because I want to make sure that you're not the same Dracula I'm looking for. And I discovered you're just Castlevania Dracula, not the Marvel Dracula. But I'm still keeping an eye on you, because I hear you've been attacking a few people lately. How you doing, folks? You know, Dracula, it's suckers like you who always try to ice skate the bill. Seriously? By the way, why don't you tell your origins to the fans here? Well, if you insist. As you can see, a long time ago, my mother was bitten by this evil vampire who goes by the name of Deacon Frost. So I go into a never-ending journey to find him and kill him any way I can. And of course, the difference between the comic book version of my story and the movie, of course, in the movie, my mother was in labor and she was bitten by a vampire. So the vampire DNA mixes into me, and therefore I become the Daywalker. But in the comic books, I was bitten by a vampire named Morbius. You know, that vampire villain who is an arch-villain for Spider-Man. And therefore became a Dampier, also known as the Daywalker. Is that all you need to know? Yes, thank you. Anyway, enough about Blade, let's get to the movie, shall we? The first movie, now here's an interesting fact here about this one. The first movie, Blade, was a good one. Of course it has a bit of a 90s cliche way, but it's still a good movie. It's about Deacon Frost, except he wants to be a blood god. So he can rule the world and turn everybody into vampires. And you know, if this movie wasn't been made, it wouldn't inspire other Marvel superhero movies. I mean, if this wasn't made, X-Men wouldn't been made, Incredible Hulk wouldn't been made, Spider-Man wouldn't been made, heck, even the Avengers wouldn't been made. If it wasn't for this one, we would have been stuck with Howard the Duck. That character is a foul poultry. Anyway, they went to the sequel, Blade 2. Anyway, in this one, his father figure named Abraham Whistler, who is in the first movie, gets kidnapped by vampires in Moscow, trying to turn him into some kind of vampire slave. Blade saves him, and all of a sudden they discover that there is a new type of vampires. And along with this, with Blade's new help named Scud. Like Scud. Anyway, there were other vampires who needs Blade's help. As it turns out, there's a new breed of vampires. And they are infecting other vampires to be their type of species. No hair, and these jaws, they split out with fangs and clenches. Ugh. Not my type of vampires. And as it turns out, it was a double cross. At the end, it was an experiment to make unstoppable vampires who was immune to everything. Garlic, silver, and even they made their ribs hard as a rock, so no steak wouldn't penetrate. Tell you the truth, that's one thing I would love to have. I get sick and tired of being staked all the time. 'Cause trust me, steak is bad for the heart. And then they made the sequel, which some people would say it's not as good, it's stupid, but to me, I got like a half and half way of saying. This one is called Blade Trilogy. In this one, you got Ryan Reynolds as Hannibal King, and that there is a character in the comics. Hannibal King was once a vampire until Blade and Frank Drake captured him and found a way to turn him back to normal. So now he lives an entire life as a human vampire hunter. Kind of like what Ryan Reynolds said. How he knows about vampires? For starters, he used to be one of them, after playing a little game of hide-and-go-sack. And of course, Jennifer Biller's character here, her name is Abraham Whistler, Whistler's daughter. And of course, they form a team called the Night Stalkers. And that was in the comic book too, because even though in the original comic book it was Blade, Frank Drake, and Hannibal King who formed a detective agency / vampire hunter agency called Night Stalker. And of course, Dracula is in this movie, but instead of calling him Dracula, they call him Drake. The whole story in the movie is but the action between Blade and Dracula, marvelous. I love the action. And after the third movie, they were planning on doing a fourth Blade movie. And I heard Wesley Snipes wants Blade to be a part of the Marvel Disney franchise, since the Disney, they own the rights. And they want the Blade to keep going, so they made a TV series of Blade, and I have the DVD of the pilot. House of Cathan. This actor, he's no Wesley Snipes, but I guess he'd do. And of course he has a new character, this girl here who's a cop, who all of a sudden become a vampire, so now she teams up with Blade. It was the beginning of the whole series, but sadly, it didn't catch on because there was another vampire series. It got way popular than this one. Enough with the bears. Anyway, the only show that got very popular was, of course, Buffy. You know, there's somebody I want to call to. An actor who starred in my Dracula. Hey, Keanu Reeves!
Yeah?
You smell like a baby's coffin, you schmuck.
Thanks for knowing my cologne.
He's weird. Anyway, hey Blade.
What?
What do you think about Buffy?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer? For a blonde vampire hunter, mighty fine. She has a really fine, fine butt. You know, one of these days I wish I could do a crossover with her. But too bad I'm owned by Marvel, and Buffy is owned by Dark Horse.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And what do you think about Disney owning the rights?
Well, here's one big problem. Disney is nothing more but a sugar-coated topper company. They want to make things all kid-friendly, and they don't allow vampires in the franchise. And I gotta say, for a vampire hunter like me, that sucks.
Good point.
Well, I gotta go. I heard there's a vampire on the loose, so I need to find him. See you later.
Well, that's great for you. Sugar-coated topping. Anyway, as Marvel got so popular enough that the Japanese animators who are owned by Sony decided to make this Blade anime series. And you can easily find it in any local stores. And of course, they made a video game of Blade. I mean, the first movie came out, they made the video game, but it wasn't that good. And the same thing goes with Blade 2. They tried to make a video game of Blade 3, but sadly, it didn't catch on. But they made Blade appear on other video games. Like they made Blade appear on Ghost Rider as an unlockable character after you finish the game. And of course, Blade appeared on Marvel Ultimate Alliance. And also Part 2. And appeared on Marvel Lego Superheroes. So there might be a lot of hope for Blade being a big Marvel superhero icon along with other Marvel superheroes. So that's good for him. Of course, I don't know about them. I mean, I don't like the Marvel version of me. I mean, the things about him, I kind of find him so selfish. But enough about me and Blade. Ladies and gentlemen, June will be coming soon. And you know what that means. Besides Muti-Voice Reviewer's birthday, there is also Asian Month, where Muti-Voice Reviewer himself is gonna be reviewing Japanese movies. And I think this will be a great time, ladies and gentlemen, for me to introduce you my right-hand man, my best friend in the whole world, Mr. Death. Come on. Mr. Death, come on. One moment, please. Mr. Death, you could come now.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's a good idea.
Oh, come off it. Don't be so camera shy.
Easy for you to say. You know how to face a camera. 'Cause you're so handsome and dashing. Me, I look all spooky.
Oh, don't be such a wet blanket. Look, I did a lot for you, you know? Trying to let you star in this show. So I talked to Muti-Voice Reviewer, and he says it would not hurt to have the Angel of Death as a new guest.
Well, I'm pretty flattered for Mr. Muti-Voice Reviewer for letting me be here. But if it's all the same, I think I'd rather just be somewhere else.
Just appear and make your announcements on June. Remember the deal.
Okay, you always boss me around. Since you want me to review it on Asian month since it's Japanese, I guess I'll do it.
Boy, that's more like it.
Alright, I'm coming, just give me a second.
Take your time.
Hello everyone. I am Mr. Death, at your service. And it's my first time in being here, so go easy on me. I'm a beginner here. Anyway, you know it's gonna be June soon, and I talked to Mr. Muti-Voice Revere for me to appear on his show, and he was really thrilled to have me here. So, of course I'm getting a little nervous, so you better go easy on me. This is my first time doing this, making my appearance for the first time. Oh, and of course on Asian month, I'm going to review something very special. It was made in Japan. It was based in the comic book series, but they made animes, movies, and so forth. I'm going to review to you everything about it. And the one I'm going to be reviewing for you today is, of course, Death Note. That's pretty fun, isn't it? At least I'm not, Dead Ringer. Anyway, this here's Mr. Death saying to you all, goodbye. How do you turn this dang thing off? It's kind of hard to press buttons when you're wearing gloves, right? Here we go.